I arrived at St. Joseph's in September of 1963. I was a member of the school's second class. A year later, Jim arrived, 1964. So we became teammates in 3 sports over the next 3 years. What he was simply the best player on the field. And a lot of that had to do with what was inside of him. He understood the game. He understood how to play the game, and he had an overwhelming desire to do well and for his team to win. It wasn't about him doing well, it was about the team winning. And he would do whatever he could and whatever was necessary to make that happen. Some of his biggest accomplishments were the first accomplishments. Scoring the touchdown in St. Joseph's first varsity football win. Scoring the winning touchdown in the first Thanksgiving Day win over Trumbull. Scoring 37 points in a state high school tournament game, which was a school record at the time. That game went into 4 overtimes, and over the course of the game, most of us ended on the bench due to injuries, due to fouls, or due to whatever. Jim was the only one of the regular players who was out there for the whole game, and basically he became the team. He took over the game. It was a great performance. But I think his biggest accomplishment was moving easily and seamlessly from one sport to another without missing a step. Football season ended, basketball season began the next day, and it's like he never missed a step. Moving from basketball to baseball in the spring, never missed a step. That, I would say, is one of the things that I remember most about him.
My comments are on a young man who was probably, in my mind, the very best athlete to set foot in St. Joseph High School. His name is Rick DiCicco, and sometimes God puts people in your life and you don't know the reason why, but I'll tell you, this young man made his mark in my coaching career. He's the leading scorer in St. Joseph High School, 1,666 points. Rick was also the leading rebounder in St. Joe's history with 1,210 rebounds. He has the highest single season average recorded in the year 1971-72, and that's with 29.8 points per year. He got the most rebounds in a single season in 1972-73, and that's 433 rebounds. He got the most rebounds in a game against Berlin in the state tournament on March 7th, 1973. That was 33 rebounds in one game. That game he happened to hit 34 points also. Received All-American recognition in 1973. And he was selected All-State First Team in 1972 and 73. So this young man, was about 6'3", weighed 210, 215 pounds, could jump and put the elbow on a rim. Just a tremendous athlete. I'm proud to comment about Rick because I think he undoubtedly, in my mind, was the best athlete that St. Joe's ever had.
My brother Michael was an outstanding 2-sport athlete at St. Joe's, both football and baseball. He was MVP of our league, which was called the NBAC back in those days in both sports. As a student, he was well liked by the student body, well respected, had a lot of friends, and he cared about others, and I think others saw that he was genuine with his friendship. On the field, Mike was pretty calm. He wasn't overly emotional. He was a student of the game more than anything. He had a lot of ability as a quarterback. He understood defenses and his reads on offense for us. He was a natural leader in that way by example. Baseball, same type of thing. He was a catcher, so he was in a leadership position there. And Mike was MVP of the NBAC football conference his senior year. He was an all-league player. He was MVP of the baseball season also in the same conference. He was an all-state baseball player, Daily News All-Star. He also went on to earn a scholarship to play baseball at Fairfield University. He was also the senior male athlete of the year while he was here at St. Joe's. We won the state championship his senior year in baseball. That was certainly a big deal for us. We had a really good pitching staff, and I thought he handled them well. He loved the strategy of calling pitches and things like that. He wasn't a vocal guy by any means, but he certainly led by example.
First, this Saturday over at St. Joe's, game time 10:30 a.m., Fairfield Prep and St. Joe's will put both their undefeated records on the line. It will be NBAC football at its best. Last year, St. Joe's beat Prep 7-6 in the NBAC championship contest. This season, Prep, though they are ranked very high in all the polls, still have something to prove against St. Joe's.
We never have to really make an effort to get the kids up for the game. It's a very important game both for the league and statewide. It's the high point.
We think about them every day too, Rod, and we're glad they feel that way, and this way there's no excuses when the game's over. We just hope the better team wins.
Who do you feel you're going to have to stop on St. Joe's to get the win? Is there somebody you might have to stop, somebody you might have to key on?
Well, Lawson's a big player.
Right.
Obviously big runner for him, so defense will be, having their eyes on him. And, as far as the whole team's a big threat. And, Coach McCarthy does a lot with the team, so, they know what they're doing.
It's a rivalry. It's a lot of hard work. It's a long week. It just comes out to who doesn't make the mistakes and who capitalizes on the mistakes. That's about it. And who comes out with the most points.
Well, it means a lot to us. We always like to beat Prep. Prep St. Joe's rivalry. But, we go out and play. We want to win. It has nothing to do with the NBAC or nothing because they're in the other division and stuff. Right. But we just like to beat them because they're like our rivalry.
This game for us, it's the biggest game up to this point in the season for us. But it's not the biggest of the year. Up to now it is. We want to win this game and then go on to the NBACs and the state games. Those are the two biggest games of years for us.
Okay, folks, now time for the highlights. St. Joe's is already in the lead here, courtesy of a Prep turnover 7-0. It leads to a touchdown pass, Bob Ventresca to Pat Donegan. Okay, now Prep has a chance to tie it right here, and they do. Steve Laglisi, on a 4th and 4, finds Pater. Good run, Steve. Touchdown. Just got in there. Now, Cadet Coach Ed McCarthy does not think that Laglisi got in. That's his cross of Earl Weaver right there. This is all first half action. McCarthy a bit upset with that call. And you see the score 7-7. Now this is what St. Joe's did to Prep all day. 5'6" quarterback Bob Ventresca to number 83 Pat Donegan. There was a question mark going into this game about Bob's size and his ability to throw the ball on the Prep front four. Well, just watch this series. Ventresca completed 15 of 27 passes for 173 yards. He hit Donegan 9 times for 121 yards and 3 touchdowns. Donegan is a 5'11" senior. The kid can play. There you see Ventresca. Every time he finds Donegan. It was amazing that nobody doubled up on Donegan until later on in the game. Ventresca only 5'6". Again, they knocked his ability.
There is time. Donegan.
There it is again to Donegan. Now this is a touchdown pass, and this makes the score 13-7. This is a pro football catch.
What a catch.
Now to start the second half, St. Joe's will come out running. They mix it up a bit, a 22-yard romp by John Lawson. You have to get John in there once in a while. Watch Lawson go, number 41. The kid can scamper. So now they're mixing it up, and this will set up a 32-yard touchdown prayer, Ventresca to Ed Boyle to Pat Donegan for the score. St. Joe's then goes on for a successful 2 points to make the score 21-7. Biggest play of the game coming up. I want you to watch prep coach Earl Lavery as he collapses in the background right corner of your screen. Prep is still in the game at this point, and they're in good field position, but the reverse fails. A fumble. Chris Martin recovers for the Cadets. That play might have caught St. Joe's sleeping if it went off clean. Finally, St. Joe's will cap it off. Bruce Perry, an 11-yard TD scamper. There you see number 44, junior running back, Bruce Perry. And then here comes the celebration. The final again on this was 28-7. It could have easily been 40-0. St. Joe's was emotionally prepared for this ball game. Prep will be a bit better next time. Post-game comments
Not at all.
coming up.
It was just a terrific day, and I enjoyed it to the fullest. You know, I really wanted to have a good game, especially against Prep, but I never imagined I'd have a day like that.
How come you were always so free, always so in the open?
Well, we were working hard because we knew if they had a weak point, it was probably their secondary. And, you know, we worked hard all week and had a good scouting report and just tried to pick them apart.
You know, the rap on Bobby Ventresca coming into the game was that he'd have trouble throwing over the big lineman that Fairfield Prep had. That wasn't the case.
Not at all. V's really a super quarterback, and he'll just move in the pocket till he feels comfortable, and then if he sees me or whoever's the receiver, and he'll deliver the ball.
Were you picking on somebody in particular in the Prep secondary, or?
No, not at all. We just sprinted out to whatever side coach gave us to play to.
Weren't you surprised that you weren't double-teamed until late in the game?
I really wasn't thinking about it too much, to tell you the truth. But, oh well, it was really hard after they double-teamed me, though. You know, because they were hitting me off the line. I really couldn't get open too much, but we just started running the ball a little bit and just mixed it up.
I thought the team did a good job. The whole line did a super job. So it gave me a lot of time to throw. Pat Donegan did a great job catching. And I thought that we did pretty good. I got to say I'm satisfied.
Yeah, were you surprised that Pat was always as open as he was?
Not really, because I know he's a real great receiver, and he always seems to get open. He's very quick and fast.
The number 2 football team in the state, St. Joe's of Trumbull, beat Stratford on Saturday 41-0. St. Joe's now has a 31-game win streak at home, and their season record is 6-0.
Our senior leadership was tremendous. Although we had some excellent underclass players too, but we had a great junior quarterback, Bobby Ventresca, and we had the senior leadership was tremendous. We had 3 boys make first team all-state. So of the, say, 24 boys named to the all-state team, 3 of them were ours, and we were very proud of that. Chris Martin was an offensive lineman. Pat Donegan was a receiver. And Robbie Smith was a defensive end on the All-State team. And that was quite an accomplishment for one team to get 3 guys. Being number 1 in the state, that was quite an honor for us. A Class S school who had only been playing football maybe 15 years. Probably the turning point of the year, we'll say, or the biggest game of the year, wasn't really at the end in the championship game. It was in mid-season against Fairfield Prep, and we beat them pretty good. We beat them here at home. 28-7, and I think at that time we realized how good we could be. We went on to play them again, and we had a very rough game with them in the NBAC championship game, but we survived. We also survived against Massac. We were beat up and exhausted after a tough season, and we had to play Massac, who had a very good team that year on Thanksgiving, and we survived that game too to go to the state championship game. We've always presented to the seniors that it's their team. You may not be a captain as such, but we expect you to be a leader. We expect the younger kids to feed off of the way you present yourself, the way you practice, the way you do everything in school, on the field, and off. That group, they really established themselves as an outstanding bunch of young men. to get through a season undefeated, you have to be very lucky. I've coached several teams who lost one game. You know, we stubbed our toe, you know, in one series or you know, lost. But to go undefeated, you really need a special commitment. It stays with me for all the years. Two of our stars, Johnny Lawson and Jose Agabidi, they were really banged up at the end of the year, and they could have said, Coach, I need a few days off, but they never did. And again, that really helped us a lot. You know, to go undefeated and you know, just to survive that schedule, I think was really, you know, really a tribute to our guys.
Well, we played it was a tough game, but the way we play as a team, you know. There's no individual effort out. Everything comes as a team, and each guy puts in a big play, and everything comes out, and we come out on top, you know. So it's a team effort all the time.
McCarthy's done a lot with you guys, I think more so emotionally than physically, because you guys do have the physical talent, but emotionally he gets you guys sky high all the time, Pat.
I tell you, his talks before the game, that's one thing I'm going to remember. You know, he comes in there, he gives us a speech, he just gets us real pumped up, and we come out just ready to play.
What does he say?
Well, it's a lot of emotional things to get us pumped up. He says, you know, he tells us things about how good it would be for us, you know, to win everything. We've won the MBACs before, we won the states before, but to be #1, like all through the season, people were, like from scrimmages on, people didn't really believe in us. Like after we beat Prep, people were still making excuses, saying, you know, Prep had a bad game. Then we beat Prep again, and like then, you know, they're saying it was closer and Prep was closer, and then, you know, for the states to come along and we became #1, and then, like today, I think we made believers out of almost everybody.
Billy, being the youngest of 4 boys, he was always itching to get in on the bigger boys' games. Competing against older kids never really fazed him, and that kind of served him well as he got older and went into high school and eventually into college. He was obviously very determined, very persistent, very tenacious on the football field. Despite not being really a really big guy, he was always in the thick of things. When he was playing football, if he was, say, playing linebacker on defense, he was pretty much always leading the team in tackles. He's sort of the son of a coach. Our dad was a long-time Pop Warner football coach, and he was always kind of like the kid who he always wanted to participate, but he also wanted to teach other kids what to do or show them what to do or lead them somehow. Just a very determined guy, has a good sense of humor. People naturally gravitate towards him, and just really a leader. That's how he is. He was a member of 4 state championship football teams. He actually played in 4 state championship games. Even when he was a freshman, he got a little bit of playing time. In that particular season's championship game, he got in at the end, and he actually got on the field. And then he played quite a bit sophomore and, of course, junior and senior years. Was all-league twice, junior and senior year. He was all-state when he was a senior. He was the Fairfield County Defensive Player of the Year his senior year. His junior year season, St. Joe's won their class championship, but were also voted overall #1 in the final rankings in the state of Connecticut. So I think that's one of the achievements that he's most proud of. He's also a captain on the baseball team. He was a first baseman on the baseball team. And they had some successful teams as well. They never won any state championships, but they had successful regular seasons. I think Bill's greatest athletic accomplishment at St. Joe's happened on the gridiron. It was, I believe, his junior year, and they were playing what was then called the MBAC championship game down at Kennedy Stadium in Bridgeport. And the opponent was Fairfield Prep. And it was a hard-fought game. Both teams, St. Joe's was undefeated. Prep may have had 1 loss during the season, I think inflicted by St. Joe's. But it was a hard-fought game. Final score was 13-7 in favor of St. Joe's. And Bill actually had 19 tackles in the game. And so at that time, it was St. Joe's record for number of total tackles in a game. So the combination of things that they won the league championship, they did it at a big stadium, Kennedy Stadium in Bridgeport, and he set the record for tackles, and then beating a big rival like Fairfield Prep all converged into really a very memorable moment for Bill.
the perfect high school student. She was in National Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, played the 3 sports, was good looking, sweet to everybody. She was always very kind. Michelle was a great leader on the field, no matter what sport she played in. She had the unique ability to focus in on the situation at hand and adjust to it, and never once thought of herself before the greater good of the team. She was truly a team player who wanted to make everyone look good and do the best so that the team would succeed, not just herself. Really a very caring, loving person off the field. Everyone was her friend. She was kind to all people. It didn't matter if you were an athlete or a cheerleader or a kid who did drama club or Spanish Honor Society. If you were good and she liked you and you liked her, you were friends, and that's how she treated everybody. Her senior year, her 2 greatest accomplishments were in volleyball. She helped lead the girls volleyball team to a state tournament championship with Coach George Green, who's being honored tonight, as well as scoring over 1,000 points on her girls basketball team that senior year as well. The one memory that really sticks out in my mind about Michelle was when she scored her 1,000 points during her senior year. The stadium was packed here at St. Joe's with friends and family. When she scored the actual basket and they hit the buzzer signifying it, the place absolutely erupted with people clapping and just, being so happy for her, including people from the other team showing the respect that they knew she deserved because she was that good of a team player.
From an early age, Christine liked sports. She hung around with me all the time, so I was always at practice. She was highly competitive. She would do anything to beat you. She had a motor that didn't stop. She had a desire to win. She didn't care if she scored points. She didn't care about getting hit. She just wanted to win. She was a fierce competitor. She's a very devoted sister to her siblings. She's very loyal to her friends. She trusted her coaches. She always wanted to excel and do well. She always wanted the approval of somebody. We came here usually up to St. Joe, sometimes to the ballpark across the street from our house, but I would hit her ground balls from the time she was probably 4 years old. I taught her how to bat lefty, so she would swing all day long. And I was coaching baseball here. She'd come up and go in the cage outside and she would swing and she would take grounders and she would never want to stop. Basketball, from the time she was in 4th grade, she used to find a spot to shoot from, and she was going to stop there and shoot. As she grew older, and when she came to high school, we were here every night shooting, working on free throws, working on moves to the basket. She worked far beyond the practice time. Her accomplishments were many. I remember very well a period in time in softball, I believe it was her sophomore year. She had 20 hits and 24 at-bats over like a 4 or 5 game span, and it was almost like she was playing tennis, just serving the ball wherever she wanted to hit it. It was just phenomenal. I remember at the game she was going for 1,000 points. She was a basket away from it, and I think 3 or 4 straight trips down the court she passed the ball to somebody else to score, and everybody was screaming at her just to shoot and get it over with. And she just did it her way because her style was, I'm going to play the team game first, and then she finally scored that 1,000 point, and that was pretty awesome to watch. Above all that, all the academic stuff that she has done, she never tooted her own horn. I've always tooted it for her. We're real proud of the way she's carried herself to her friends and everything, being loyal to them and never worrying about what she did, but worried about everybody else all the time.
We met in 1963. 2 laymen, I was already at St. Joe's, 2 laymen were hired by Father Lorello, our principal. I got a chance to interview both. I hired Tom as our assistant in basketball, and that was a stroke of genius. From the moment I hired him, our basketball program took off. This man taught 9 subjects, coached at least 4 sports, boys and girls, showed his administrative ability as MBAC baseball commissioner, and represented St. Joe's well by serving on the CIAC baseball committee. We finished practice and would meet in the office planning the next day. Tom would say to me, wait a minute, and he'd call his wife Agnes, and he asked a very important question. Every night I'd hear, Ag, what's for dinner? Once he heard from Agnes, he'd go and take a shower. Tom was a master of a lost art, the art of pipe smoking. No one cradled his pipe more than Tom. He had one of those Sherlock Holmes jobs. I saw another talent in Tom that was outstanding, the ability to navigate direction. So I gave him the responsibility and assignment of driving our team's bus. When Tom called me and asked if I'd be his presenter, that meant a great deal to me. It gave me the opportunity to let his friends see the real Tom Roach. There's no one else like him. Give him an assignment and he'll get it done for you. And he's very dependable, and I'm glad to say that he's a true friend.
I called him Dad, and as a teacher I called him G to the fourth. He saw himself as George Green geometry god. Once I did raise my hand and call Dad to ask a question, but then realized I should probably call him Mr. Green. As a teacher and as a coach, he drives people to do their best. He makes the best teams, the best students, makes children and students believe in themselves. On the court, inspirational, motivating, pushed his players to be the best they could be all the time. Always found that winning combination in his players. He had a calm demeanor for the most part on the court, but also fought for what was right. For his accomplishments through coaching volleyball and tennis, I know he had state-winning tennis players. We had, for volleyball, boys and girls as well, state champions. 1989, which is the team I was on, being one of them. Just an amazing, amazing record. The record really speaks for itself. Really, honestly, the greatest memory is that state championship win. It was such an accomplishment. The 1989 team was so tight-knit. To this day, many of them are here today, joining us to celebrate this day, not only recognizing an athlete who was part of our team, but also my dad, who was the coach. So congratulations, Dad, Coach Green, Mr. Green, G to the fourth. Your record speaks for itself, and you are most deserving of this honor.